Hey guys, welcome back to the show. It's Nat Nidham and it's another solo episode. And so today I'm going to talk to you about holiday hacks, hacking the holidays, getting through the holidays without coming out the other side feeling kind of bloated and like you've lost ground and feeling kind of awful. I think I read an article not that long, a couple of years ago, that said that on average, Americans put on maybe 2 to 3 pounds over the holidays, which, if you think about it, isn't that much. It's not that bad. It's not something you can't recover from. Having said that, it depends, right? It depends how you go into the holidays. And it depends if coming out of the holidays, you get back on that bandwagon, that health bandwagon. And we're not, this isn't about not gaining 2 pounds or something. This is about how do you feel and how are you going to be able to get through this holiday season? And there's a lot coming at us. There's a lot of cocktail parties. There's lots of sweets around. There's lots of dinners and celebrations. So the first thing I want to say to you is give yourself permission to celebrate. All right. So this hopefully is a fun time of year for you. You have friends and family to get together with. And if you don't, this is a good time of year to maybe volunteer, connect with your community, whatever it takes for you to feel happy and good. Right. So the invitation really is to look at your schedule, look at what's coming up and make a plan, right? Make a plan and say, look, we have a big family dinner here and that night, I'm going to eat what's in front of me. I'm going to celebrate and I'm going to indulge. And that's all right. As long as you're not like, I don't know, celiac or something, and it's going to throw you into a flare of some kind. We're built for feast and famine, right? And so make this feast, plan your feast for that day. Having said that, it's what we do around it. And the challenge is that probably for most of us, starting from Thanksgiving onwards, this launches like a 6-week period of excess. And so quite apart from putting on a couple of pounds, which, like I said, is not the end of the world, it's also about how we feel. Right. So some of the things that I think are really important and are worth highlighting is if, let's say, and we're going to have two scenarios. We're going to have the scenario where we're traveling and we're going to have the scenario where we're staying at home. So if we're staying at home, stay on your routines as much as possible. Don't stop going to the gym. Keep doing all the things that you do well around the occasions where the wheels are going to come off the bus. Don't forget about the 80-20 rule. Do the thing you should be doing 80% of the time so that maybe 20% of the time you can indulge and do something else. Now, that 80-20 is going to vary from person to person. For some people, it might be 75-25. For other people, it might be 90-10. Some people have less wiggle room because of where they are in their journey. You got to know yourself, right? The other thing you got to know about yourself is, let's say I start indulging in sweets or cocktails or whatever the case may be. Is this going to be a kind of like an uncontrollable tumble down the mountain and find yourself at the bottom of the mountain, having completely lost your way, drinking too much, eating too much, all the thing, and just feeling kind of crummy? If that's you, then you may need to exercise a little bit more discipline, right? To avoid that. But if you're the kind of person that can indulge once in a while and be fine, and then just go back to your regular routine, then you're going to have a little bit more wiggle room. So staying on your routine, what does that mean? That means get to the gym. Don't forego the gym. Now, if you have a late night and a late dinner, then going to the gym the next morning might not be the best idea. However, could a bone broth or a water fast for at least part of that day help your body to deal with the excess from the night before? Yeah, it might, right? We can balance things off. The other thing that's really important, and this is the cardinal rule, is don't show up to the cocktail party starving. Yeah. have a protein bar, have a protein shake, have, if you tolerate whey protein, Joel Green in his program has this amazing, he calls it a preload meal, where you actually have a whey protein shake with a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil and close to like half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of cinnamon. And you blend that up and you chug it about 20 minutes to half an hour before you go to that party. And a few things are going to happen. Number one, it primes your metabolism and gets it burning. Number two, guess what? You're not going to be starving. So you're going to have more control over what you do and do not eat. And number three, you're not going to get drunk as quickly. If you've made the decision to have a couple of cocktails, that whey protein shake is going to be a buffer for that alcohol. So it's not hitting your liver like a sledgehammer with nothing in your stomach. So if you are deciding that you are going to indulge in some cocktails this holiday season, that's fine. But again, be smart about it. Make a decision when you're going in. I'm having one or two. Let's say you decide you're having 3 cocktails. That's fine. Make sure that you're drinking a full glass of water in between each drink. That's going to help you to feel better, to drink less, and probably to come out the other side feeling better as well. Okay? Number 2, if you make the decision that you're not going to drink any cocktails, that you're not having alcohol at this party, awesome. My invitation to you is not to talk about it. My invitation to you is to get a beautiful glass, like either a champagne flute or a cocktail glass, whatever it is. Pour in some beautiful sparkling water, throw in a couple of cranberries or some like fresh cranberries or maybe some lemon slices or whatever. Make it look gorgeous and sip on it like it's the most amazing cocktail ever. I think a lot of people these days, anyways, have non-alcoholic cocktails available for their guests. So hopefully that'll be the situation. If you're hosting, I would invite you to do a couple of creative things with festive drinks that don't have a ton of alcohol in them or have no alcohol in them. But that's your choice. No judgment here. This is a no judgment podcast ever, but I'm just giving you a couple of different options. Okay. Number 3, when it comes to food, and I did talk about this, some of these products when I did my podcast on travel hacks and stuff like that, things like digestive enzymes, things like for example, Masszymes from Bioptimizers, or Gluten Guardian, also from Bioptimizers. If you're not used to eating gluten and you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're going to be faced with gluten, or you don't know what's in your food and you know that you react badly to gluten, then definitely have that Gluten Guardian in your pocket, having it with you in your bag so you can pop 2 or 3 of those before the meal and be covered. Okay. As for the digestive enzymes, Masszymes is a great option. If you need hydrochloric acid because you're eating a lot of protein and you know you don't break it down that well, then I think they have an HCl breakthrough as well at Bioptimizers. So now, and actually, I'm not going to say that big. I was going to say it's Black Friday, but by the time this airs, it'll be the Friday after Black Friday. But you know what? Everybody's going to be having all kinds of sales through the end of the year. So definitely make sure you stock up on this stuff now so that you have it on hand when you need it. Another supplement that I think is really helpful if you're not already taking it is molecular hydrogen. Molecular hydrogen is really helpful at keeping your blood sugar levels steady. And especially when you wake up the morning after a night of indulgence, whether you have a headache or you're not feeling great, plopping a couple of those molecular hydrogen tablets into water, letting them dissolve, and then chugging it down is a beautiful thing. It's great for a headache. It's great to help balance your blood sugar. Also really good if you're deciding that you've really indulged and today is going to be a fast day because yesterday was a feast day, then drinking molecular hydrogen a couple of times through the day is really going to be helpful at balancing your blood sugar levels and keeping you hydrated. Speaking of hydrated, if you happen to have LMNT, that's a great product to just pour into like a big 1.5 liter bottle of water and drink it through the day. It's hydrating, it tastes good, and it'll keep your electrolytes balanced. Okay, so that's your cocktail party kind of hacks. Don't go in hungry, be hydrated, stay hydrated, And if you're going to drink, double stay hydrated. And if you're not going to drink booze, then don't make a big deal out of it. Make yourself a beautiful looking drink and just sip on it through the evening. Nobody will be the wiser. Okay. Number 2, dinner parties. Okay. Again, it's kind of like the same rules, right? If you're concerned about overindulging, then have that preload shake about 20 minutes to half an hour before you go, and that'll cover your bases. If you don't tolerate whey protein, even having something like a cup of bone broth before you go will take the edge off your hunger, and it'll help you, and it'll kind of get something into your stomach, right? So what we want to do is we want to get something into our stomachs. We want to kind of get our digestion going a little bit. And that way, when we show up, we're not ready to eat our own arm off, and we have some control over what we say yes to and what we say no to. Okay, the digestive enzymes, the gluten guardian, again, are super important to have on hand. The molecular hydrogen as well, before and after, can be really, really helpful. A couple of other supplements that I think are worth highlighting here, especially through the holiday season. If you're not, and I'm sure many of you do not use GLP-1 agonists because you don't need them or you don't tolerate them, whatever the case may be, there's a couple of relatively new supplements on the market that I think are really, really helpful, or can be, at least during this time. So if you haven't heard me talking about it yet, and I did talk about it in a previous solo episode, there's by healthjev.com, there's Ignite Plus. So this is a supplement that contains DNF10, which is that satiety peptide, and also has the dihydroberberine and all these bitter melon. It has all this amazing stack of ingredients to boost your metabolism and help with satiety. So there's 2 different ways to take that. You can take 3 capsules in the morning, or you can take 1 capsule 20 minutes before each meal. Bottom line, see what works better for you, and that's how you'll use it. There's a new entry on the market since the last time I recorded a podcast where I talked about these types of supplements, and it's called Metabolism Fixer by Dr. Amy Horniman. Now, this is a really interesting powder. It goes in, it's a drink. You either get it in, I think it's orange or lemon flavor, really yummy tasting. And if you don't love popping pills, you can take Metabolism Fixer. Not only does it have the DNF10 and all the other many of the other good ingredients, but it also has T2, which is a metabolite of thyroid hormone, which nobody ever talks about and is really effective at boosting metabolism. So that's another really great option. It's brand new on the marketplace. I would start taking it now because it takes about a couple of weeks for it to really kick in. So that's another option for you. That's Thyroid Fixer by Dr. Amy Horniman. The link, the discount codes, all the things are on my Nat Recommends page. Last time I did this podcast, I got a lot of comments from people. Where are the links? Where are the codes? And so everything is on Nat Recommends on my website, natnidham.com. Okay. So we've talked about, the supplements. We've talked about hydration, which is critical. We've talked about molecular hydrogen. My favorite place to get it, by the way, drinkhrw.com. Again, that's in my references and Nat Recommends. And the whey protein, any good grass-fed whey protein shake is going to be great. The extra virgin olive oil, the cinnamon helps to balance blood sugar, right? All of these things are going to be amazing. During this time of year, don't forget your workouts. Don't make this the time that you stop working out because you will feel worse. So, like I said, you're not going to wake up the morning after the night before necessarily and hit the gym at 6 o'clock. And especially if you have time off work, make this an opportunity to do a different workout. Do it at a different time of day. Go to the gym at lunch or in the afternoon, but get to the gym, move your body. And if going to the gym is not your thing, then at the very least, get into the habit of postprandial walks. Really fancy way of saying, get outside and go for a walk after dinner. After any big meal, you want to be walking for a solid 20 minutes at a nice pace. And you're going to say to me, oh, but Nat, it's dark, it's winter, it's cold. Perfect. All the better. That's called a little bit of cold exposure for you. That's amazing. So definitely grab your dog. If you have a dog, grab the dog. If you have a friends and family with you, grab them and drag them along with you. They will thank you. You will all feel better. Okay. So that postprandial walk has been shown in studies to help to buffer that blood sugar spike that happens after meals, especially when we're having festive meals and we're having sweets and desserts and all the things. So this is the perfect time to institute the postprandial walk after any big meal. And if you want to take a page out of Ted Ferriss's book, I don't know if any of you guys read The 4-Hour Body, but I think it's like the first chapter in the book or something. He talks about being in a restaurant. He's in a bathroom stall doing 50 air squats before a meal. And, he goes on to talk about this, how he's basically depleting the glycogen in the biggest muscle groups in his body to then go and have his meal. So that is another strategy. You don't have to lock yourself in the bathroom necessarily, but if it's in your wheelhouse to do 50 air squats, that's a great way to kind of prep yourself for that meal so that you kind of empty the locker a little bit and create space for the new storage of fuel. If you're at home and you happen to have a Carol bike like I do, I will hop on my bike. And even before I go out to a dinner party, I'll hop on my bike. I'll do that 10-minute workout, glycogen depleting. I have to kind of talk myself into it, but it always works because it always helps me to feel like I've kind of emptied the tanks and I'm ready to fill them up again. But again, you don't need an expensive fancy bike to do this. You could just do some air squats. If air squats aren't enough for you because you're super fit, you could do jump squats, whatever. Do burpees. I mean, burpees you need more space for, and they're a little hideous. But again, these are like little strategies. They're little baby strategies. Doesn't mean you have to go to the gym for 2 hours, but these are little small strategies that can really make a difference over time. All right. Fasting. Should you fast during the holidays? Yeah, you know what? Feast and famine. If fasting is in your wheelhouse, a couple of days, a fasting day here or there and there, or even delaying your first meal the day after you've had a big indulgence would be a great idea. Don't do it dry. Have some water. Like I said, hydrate. Use your element if you have it, LMNT. That stuff's amazing. Use molecular hydrogen because it'll help you get through the fast better. Another really nice hack for those fasting days, if you struggle with fasting, is a product like Ketone Aid, which are ketone esters. And like a capful of that ketone, number one, it can be really great for a hangover, just saying, not that you're ever hungover, but if let's say you were hungover, a little bit of those ketones, because they're anti-inflammatory and they bring much needed fuel to your brain that is not glucose. Ketone Aid, great product for that, either the KE4 or the KE1. The KE4 is the pure ketone ester. So that one you would just use a capful of, whereas the KE1, which is ketone salt and ketone ester mixed, you could drink the whole bottle of that. It actually tastes way better than the KE4, but it doesn't work. It's not quite as powerful, but nevertheless, both are great products. Okay. Oh, and another idea for you, if you're skipping the cocktails, I just thought of another product that I thought, if you guys haven't heard of it yet, and I recorded a podcast on this, I think 2 years ago, with a guy by the name of Cameron George. He has a product line out on the market made with kava. And kava is this plant, it's a root, I think, that comes from Southeast Asia. And in the places where kava is big, they have kava bars. And what's interesting about kava is that it induces a sense of well-being and relaxation. So in those cultures, they might drink kava instead of alcohol to kind of get the edge off and to relax. And so if you're either hosting a party or going to a party, you might bring, if your host is a drinker, you might bring them a bottle of wine, but you might bring yourself a couple of these little kava shots, or they have these kava in a can, like kind of a pre-made drink, and you could enjoy that, not boring sparkling water. And it might actually help you to kind of chill out and relax a little bit. So that's another idea for you guys for cocktail parties. And the kava shots and the drinks now come in different flavors. I think they have a lime and ginger. They may have a berry one. They're kind of a little bit on the sweet side, but they're quite nice if you put a bunch of ice in there. Okay, so we were talking about workouts. So this is where we've already talked about the crazy things like the air squats, the postprandial walk. If you have access to whether it's a Carol bike or another exercise bike, you might do some sprints. Another great thing, if you have Katsu bands, if you happen to own Katsu, great tool to use all the time, really. And this is a time to keep using it because it's going to keep you moving and it's going to amplify those postprandial walks, for example. And what else can I think of for you? And that's about it. So bottom line, keep moving. Don't let go of the workouts. If you're traveling, if you're a member of a gym, the odds are that if it's a chain, like 9 Rounds or Orange Theory, all of these guys have satellite gyms in most of the major cities that you're going to be traveling to. So give them a call. They almost always will give you permission or give you a really good rate to use that gym somewhere else. So don't despair if you're traveling. Just be resourceful and plan ahead. All right. Another really interesting tool to travel with, if let's say you can't get to a gym or there's no gym where you're going to, something like bands, like resistance bands are great. And you know what? Your body weight is also amazing. So I'm going to give you a free exercise hack. On YouTube, there is a group, a group or a channel, I think called Fitness Blender. They have amazing workouts, and a lot of their workouts are just body weight. It's just your own body. And they have this one, for those of you who are a little cuckoo and really love a tough workout, called the Brutal Ladder Workout by Fitness Blender. Give it a try, do it. Send me a note the next day and tell me how you feel. When I haven't done that workout in a while and I do it, I'm usually not walking very well for a couple of days because my legs and my butt get so sore. And it's seemingly really easy. It's 1 minute of 4 exercises, then it's 50 seconds of the same 4 exercises, and then 40 seconds, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, and 10. It doesn't sound like much, but I'm here to tell you it's a brutal ladder workout by Fitness Blender. So that's your free tip of the day. All right. Sleep. Listen, prioritize sleep for sure. And in terms of meal timing, it's going to become a little bit harder to control timing of meals. So assuming that you don't want to be totally antisocial and not eat at the dinner table because you're like, oh, well, it's past the time that I eat. Look, sometimes it's appropriate to say that, and sometimes it just isn't. Sometimes you got to let it go and you got to roll with the punches, right? You just got to deal. So you may end up with a couple of nights where you're not sleeping quite as well, but on all the other nights, prioritize your sleep, become more draconian about respecting your sleep cycle and your sleep routines, not eating 3 hours before meals, wearing your blue blockers, all the things that you know that are good for your sleep. Make sure you really lean into those, especially the days and the nights that you have control. All right, let's move on to stress. Holidays can be super stressful. There's a couple of really great stress management tools out there. So I'm going to start with the free. I'm going to move into the pretty, and then I'm going to move into the tech. All right. So the free is something like the Calm app, right? Something like one of these free apps that guides you through breath work or a short meditation, anything that is going to help you to kind of take a break, take a breath, especially when things get heated around the dinner table, or if you know you're stepping into a situation that's a little bit charged. Give yourself a minute to ground yourself and center yourself before you walk in, and give yourself permission. Again, go to the bathroom, take a breath, calm yourself down before things get crazy. All right. I'm not saying that, not everybody has those situations, but a lot of families have stressful times during the holidays. So if that's your family, just make sure that you kind of make a mental note for yourself so you don't get swept up in the drama. Another really cool tool is by a company called Camuso. And Camuso has this beautiful pendant. So it comes in different colors. It comes in silver, gold. I think there's a black one. And basically it's a gold chain with this gorgeous pendant that looks like a very long, thin whistle. And what it is it's a breath work tool. You basically put it up to your lips and you take a deep breath. And as you exhale, you want to make sure that you don't make a sound through that whistle. And that forces you to slow down your exhale, which automatically lowers your cortisol levels and helps your system to calm down. And you do a few of those breaths. It could be like 5 or 6 or 10. And you'll notice that right away you start to calm down. I actually had my Camuso on recently when I did a talk, and it was, for whatever reason, I was, I really felt the stress that day, and I was pretty amped up when I came off the stage, and I did a few minutes of breath work with my Camuso, and it was amazing how calming it was. Plus, it looks really pretty. It's a great present, actually. If you're looking for a gift for the holidays, it makes a great gift. So that's camuso.com. I don't think they're on my website. I don't even think I might have. I don't know if I have a discount code for them or not. I may or may not. But even if I don't, check them out. It's a really lovely tool. It's a beautiful gift to give somebody. So moving on from Camuso, so we did our guided breath work with a free app, or meditation with a free app. There's then something like the Apollo wearable. So the Apollo wearable, it's like a little rectangle. You can either wear it on your, like I wear it sometimes on my bra, or you can wear it on a wristband or an ankle band. Nobody needs to know it's there. You program it with your phone, and it just gives a very slight vibration. And that vibration translates through your nervous system. The vibration's at a specific frequency that helps your nervous system to kind of calm down and get rebalanced. It's a really neat tool. They've got some really great data on work that they've done with kids in particular and adults. The podcast that came out with Apollo, I want to say, was this summer with Dr. David Rubin. And it's a great episode, but the Apollo is a really great little device. You have to give it some time, though, but it will, over time, if you wear it consistently for about a month, you may notice that your HRV gets better and even your sleep improves, because it just over time helps to rebalance your nervous system. And then the next one, of course, is another one that I really love. I love this one for falling asleep myself. You're not going to be able, I wouldn't wear it to the party necessarily, because it's a pebble about the size of the palm of your hand. It's black. It's called the Sensate. I wear it at bedtime. That's when I really like to do a session with it. But definitely this is more of a vagus nerve toning device. And a lot of people find that if they can take time out and lie back and wear it on their chest and do a 10-minute session with it, it really makes a difference to help them to balance their nervous system. So that's another one, although it would kind of require you to step away from the action to use it. And I think that's about it. Actually, sauna and cold exposure. So I'm not sending you out to buy a sauna. If you don't have a sauna, don't run out and buy it. But cold exposure, easy to do, because all you got to do is in the shower, turn that shower to cold. And that is an amazing tool to balance your nervous system. It's also great for encouraging brown fat, right? Which both those supplements, by the way, both the Ignite Plus by Healthgevity and the Metabolism Fixer by Amy Horniman. And also, I believe that Level Up Health has one as well called Total Recomp. All three of those all will help to encourage brown fat production, but nothing does it quite like cold. So unless you have a cold plunge tub, a great hack for the cold, aside from going out for a walk, is turning your shower to cold, either in the morning or sometimes even before bed. Can be very effective. It helps your body to cool down, and it may actually have a great impact on your deep sleep. So, cold and sauna. One of the things I like to do is in Toronto, we have a place called Float, and they have these float tanks, and you're floating in this water that's supercharged with salt, magnesium, and you come out of there so relaxed. So it's not particularly a holiday hack, but if you're having a particularly stressful time over the holidays, a float tank might just do it for you. And those float tanks are all over the place. They're they took off a few years ago, and I think they're still around. So that's it. I think I'm going to stop there. Hopefully I've given you a few ideas or a couple of thoughts that maybe you hadn't thought of, or maybe reminded you about a couple of things that you already knew about. But thank you so much for sticking with me today and for joining me. Let me know if there's other topics you would like me to cover. I'm going to leave it there for tonight. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for listening. And if you get value from this episode, make sure that you share it with friends and family. And if you're feeling inspired, make sure that you leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening to this on. And last but not least, natnidham.com is my website. And think about this year joining my Mighty Networks community, which is the BSP community. There's a tab at the top of the page on my website that gives you all the information. It's still really well priced. That price is going to go up come the new year. So if you've been on the fence or thinking about it, you definitely want to get in there. I do live Q&As in there at least twice a month, and I bring in experts to do live Q&As. A lot of them were guests on the podcast, so they come in, they do Q&As. We do these really cool N-of-1 experiments. People get special pricing on amazing products. We have a lot of fun in there, and it's a beautiful, lovely community. I think if this resonates for you, I don't think you would regret it. So that's all I got for you tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Again, have a very great, safe holiday season. And another couple of weeks, I'll do another solo episode. And I think you're going to love that one too. All right. Take care.